All right, so
I have to give you a little bit of credit for this.
Yeah, we can overdub it later. Just
I haven't had any crazy stories about. Oh wait, no, I do. I got robbed at gunpoint, mugged.
Checking for me, but I ain't checking for them. No.
it's sleazy real estate, guys. But all right, so another episode of the EP podcast here. We're back to you with another home team today. With me always with home teams, because without him it wouldn't be a home team, is Arthur Hennig. Arthur, how are you doing?
Great. How are you today?
Good. A little bit in the rush here. Almost contemplated on canceling today's recording because it is Friday. It is November 15th.
Correct.
Which is the date for Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight while they're out in Texas. And we're trying to make it to the fight card, which starts exactly in 15 minutes. So thankfully it's the main event, so it'll be a while before it happens. But, here we are. So
you're going to be ecable to do an hour worth of content in 15 minutes?
we'll figure it out, like we always do. All right, so we're going to be covering a few topics. There's some politics in there, business, econ, pretty much the usual stuff, but not as, I don't think yet, as politically heavy as it's been recently. Regardless, thank you everybody for your feedback and your engagement recently with the podcast. And, I know we've been going into politics, which could be a very sensitive subject, but nevertheless, I appreciate you guys for communicating with us. But before we do that, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell for any more episodes to come in the future, which there will be plenty more. And even though the election is done, there's still, inauguration day. Is that how you say it? Inauguration day, as well as the first 100 days in office. So I'm sorry, guys, if there's going to be a lot of politics happening. But that being said, let's get the ball rolling. I got a few topics here, Arthur. My things are on inflation, credit card debt, Elon Musk, and more Elon Musk. What are a few of your headlines?
I have a little bit about politics, more about politics, then McDonald's and luxury brands.
Okay, so let me get the ball rolling here with inflation. I saw this post by Yahoo Finance on where inflation is and is not, right? And this is let's see here. They showed this chart essentially showing where inflation is rising the most and the least, and the latest inflation report highlights where Americans have been feeling the pressure and everything. But right now, auto insurance is showing the biggest increase, up to 14% increase from last year to this year.
Well, that's interesting because we haven't heard anyone complain about auto insurance. Everyone's complaining about everything else.
Right. And I believe food is in here too. And I don't know where. So restaurant meals is on here, but I'm not seeing groceries. Are groceries on here? I know you don't have it on you. So groceries is at 1.1%. But
so less than the inflation rate.
That's according to Yahoo Finance, yes. And then auto insurance is 14%, which is huge. So I thought about what does that look like in terms of numbers, right? So I looked up what the average insurance for auto insurance for the typical American is, and I found that the full coverage car insurance costs an average of $2,458 a year. That's for full coverage.
So almost $200 a month.
Almost $200 a month, yes. So with that 14% increase, this year, that could translate to a little over $2,800 a year. Now, you might be thinking, that's only like almost $400, increase on it from an annual base, right? But that's just one thing, right? When we start seeing things like rent going up 4%, housing going up 4%, airfare going up 4%, restaurant meals going 3.8%, education going up 3.8%, that small amount, like anything else, adds up. And all of a sudden, life just seems unaffordable. So, and then to me, because that's something I hear a lot of people complaining about, insurance, auto insurance, or just insurance in general. But what are your thoughts on that with auto insurance?
Well, auto insurance is a necessary evil. If you want to have a car, you have to have auto insurance. There's no way around it. But no one has ever said that it's cheaper to own a car. Owning a car is still It's personal preference and it's a luxury. You can control the moment you leave and the moment you return.
Yeah.
But it comes with a price tag. It has always come with a price tag. That's not news.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you need to get to from point A to point B, and what style you get from point A to point B. It's really, as you said, it's on you. So, for example, like if you have a Honda, you know, you might not be looking at the prices like someone like a Tesla has in terms of insurance. So that's the case with insurance. But, you know, despite, you know, deflation, I wish. Despite inflation in other categories, prices for gasoline have actually dropped significantly down 12%, 12.2%. So I looked that up, you know, just like we did with insurance. I was wondering what that looked like currently. So according to AAA's national average gas prices, the current average as of today, we have $3 and, you know, not even like an 8 cents, $3.08, right? A year ago, that was $3.34, right? So they have significantly dropped, which is good, but, you know, I wonder what's that credited to? What do you think why it's that we have such drastic, especially in the auto topic, you know, insurance has gone up drastically, but gas has gone down drastically.
Well, we're drilling more oil than we've ever drilled in the history of the country. So oil production is massively up. So if you're producing more, supply and demand, prices go down.
True. Now, do you think we're going to see even further decrease in gas?
I believe so. Energy prices are expected to go down, period, and it's a direct reflect of what's happening in China. And China's demand for energy is drastically decreasing. So as a result, the world supply of energy is going to be, there's going to be a surplus, and when the supply goes up, the price goes down. So we'll be able to benefit off of a decrease in China's need for energy.
Okay. Hey, man, the cheaper life is, the better it is, man. So I'll take it any days. But the other thing I saw was that dining out saw a 3.8 increase, right? The other day, I ordered Chipotle for lunch, right? And Chipotle, you know, I got myself, I want to say a burrito bowl, typical burrito bowl. Well, I'm going to say typical, and I'm going to describe the specifics. It's not going to sound as typical, but it was rice, steak, beans, guac. Guac is extra, $2, as we know, and lettuce. And then I think that's what it was. But that came out to $16. Right? $16. Hold on. You hold on. Don't jump to conclusions here. $16. And mind you, this was through the Uber Eats app. Yeah, exactly. That doesn't count, you know, the service fees for the apps, whatever the fees they throw at you. That doesn't count tipping or any of that stuff. After I ate after my lunch, you know what I had for dessert?
I can only imagine.
The shock of seeing what it actually came out to entirely, which was $30 freaking for a burrito bowl.
For lunch.
For lunch.
For one person.
For one person. Like, what the hell, dude?
I only wish I could afford to live your lifestyle.
You know, we could all have aspirations and dreams, Arthur. We live in America after all.
Dining out is a luxury. There is no necessity to ordering food or going to a restaurant. It is more expensive. It has always been that way. And it just baffles me every time people complain about inflation, and then they want to talk about, the price of going out to eat is just astronomical.
As they're swiping up for a $30 burrito bowl.
Correct. Have you tried going to the supermarket and seeing how many meals you can get for $30?
Is that an app?
Well, there is an app.
For the supermarket?
There is, and they actually will deliver to your house, too.
Yeah, you know, I remember when I lived in Queens, my aunt would cook for the household, and she would at times get groceries delivered to the house. I never knew that was a thing until I saw it then, and then I never saw it again. And I thought that was freaking cool how they would come out and, like, you would essentially, I guess, buy it online, and then they would come out and deliver it to you. which I thought was a huge convenience. But I wonder what it cost then, and I wonder what it costs now, because I'm sure the price is. Because mind you, I haven't lived in New York now for, I want to say, well over 10 years. So I'm sure it's gone drastically up, not just here, but also especially in New York, given how expensive things are in New York.
But you pay for convenience. And one of the big things that's happened since the pandemic is you can place your online order at the supermarket and go pick it up and not have to pay the delivery fees. And it's the same price as shopping in the supermarket. So you can save yourself.
But you do pay a service fee.
Is there a service
There's
fee
a service, because I remember I tried to do a thing where I was having to get together and I needed extra hands, so I had my dad go out and grab it, but I ordered it online, and it's ShopRite, and I ordered it online, and then they slapped on like some sort of fee for utilizing that service. So there's definitely a fee involved, but I'm sure it's still cheaper than what it is to do something like Uber Eats or DoorDash.
Lunch.
Yeah, so because that would have been like 2 burritos. Well, that's like 2 burrito bowls. I'm sure I ordered myself a burrito bowl, but that could have been a burrito bowl for myself and the driver.
Okay, well, this just brings me back to, remember when we met?
I mean, that was like last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we sat down and we discussed where your money was being allocated. And we went through the entire process.
Yeah.
And we realized that your biggest expenditure was essentially McDonald's, which is what I like to call it, but it was really just fast
that's how
food.
American I am. That's how American I am, because I believe in the...
And working on a job where you only make a couple $100 a week, I believe about $300 or $400 a
Well,
week.
adjusted for inflation, now is like, 100,
understand.
101 a week.
But about 50% of your budget was going to fast food.
Well, you see, no, I mean, he's absolutely right. The routine was we would go to school,
Not
and
we. There is no we in this. You.
as in like we the people I wasn't around. I'm sorry, Arthur. We the people. All right, we the people. And we would leave school, and then on the way back from school, there was a McDonald's, so we would get a little something, which was McDonald's was substantially cheaper 10 years ago. You could get essentially a double quarter pounder large meal for like $7 or $8, which is now costing you literally like $16, $16 if not 17. And $7 felt like nothing, but once you start going there like every day, that adds up like anything else. But gotta support. I think to myself these days when I go out and I go out and have a drink, and then the next day I'm like, I'm not gonna go out today. I remember. The thought comes to mind of, I wasn't going to go out, but then I remembered that those bartenders have families they need to feed, right? So then I go out there and I support their family.
So you only go out to support the bartenders.
The bartenders, the McDonald's employees.
Family.
That's what I'm doing. I am supporting our economy, right? I'm supporting our economy. It's a patriotic act on my part, is what I like to think. But no, yeah, man. Eating out has always been a luxury, and has never been more of a luxury now. Things are ridiculously expensive. When you go out, you feel the pressure from tipping. You feel the pressure from, just the stuff you're accustomed to eating. You feel the pressure from getting an extra side of something. And it's just, it almost makes eating out not as delightful. So hopefully that changes over time. But
well, let's put it all in perspective. How many meals a week do you dine out or order in?
a week.
A week. There's 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. So out of 21.
I have 2 meals a day. Call the third one a snack. Right?
Okay.
Call the third one a snack. Let's see. Eating out, I would say maybe once a week.
Okay.
I try to be very diligent.
And ordering food in?
No, I'm just saying. I count eating out as getting takeout.
Okay, so it's just once a week.
If you're not cooking at home and eating at home, if you're not cooking at home, that's anything outside of that is eating out.
So your $30 bowl was your one time for the week?
My one time for the week. When was that? That was this week. That was on Tuesday, I want to say. I think, what are we today? We're Friday?
Today's Friday.
Today's Friday. I want to say it was on Tuesday.
Okay.
And I don't think I have, I'm sorry. I ate McDonald's last night.
And you ate McDonald's last night.
Hey, look. I was coming back from the Eagles game versus the Commanders, the Washington Commanders.
So was
Go
that
Birds.
last night or this morning?
It was early morning. Early morning, and got some McDonald's. But okay, so
So you're at 2.
we're at two.
And then where did you have lunch today?
I had lunch. Oh snap! Crap. See. Now this is interesting. Now I see where you're going with this. But you see, today was business. Today was
Oh,
business.
it was a business lunch. It doesn't count as dining
No,
out.
I'm just saying today was business. The intention was there's a difference between dining out for lunch and dining out for business and dining out just because I'm lazy to cook, right? I'm not going to invite someone I'm doing business with who I haven't even had an opportunity to initially, have a full conversation with to my house.
Okay, so we went from once to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And that's without auditing your credit card.
That's without audit.
if
No.
If we pull up your credit card statement, are there going to be a couple of other surprises on there that, I went to McDonald's on Monday and forgot about it?
So I'm going to move on.
So we're past 3 times a week.
The next topic is U.S. credit card that hits a record $1.17 trillion.
Well, that kind of feeds into our last topic.
That's why I couldn't think of a better topic.
If you're
So
going out to eat that often.
So are you calling me a case study here? Is that what you're doing?
You're making yourself one.
Look, so Americans now collectively own a record-breaking $1.17 trillion on their credit cards. Now, that data comes from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, covering the third quarter of 2024. In just one quarter, it rose over 24 billion in just one quarter, representing an 8.1 increase over the past year. So I'm looking at this chart here from CNBC Chart of the Day, their Instagram page. Shout out to them. That's what I was telling you earlier. God bless all these people that make really intensive data and they visualize it through charts and stuff because, I just love stuff like that. But this data has it from 2024 all the way back into 2020. I'm sorry, 2018. In 2018, it was around 810 billion. Now we're at 1.17 trillion. Right. In that time frame from 2018 to 2024, 2021 had the lowest the lowest amount at 750 billion. So in 2021, people had their lowest balances on their credit card from 2018 to 2024.
So while we're in the pandemic and people are concerned about what's going to happen next and they have extra money because, as we found out, a lot of people had excess money. So they took that money and put it towards their credit card debt to pay less interest and put themselves in a better position. But we also had other things happening then when student loan debt was frozen, as in the interest was no longer being applied. So what you owed at that moment, you still owed whether you made a payment or not. So that would allow people to take that money and put it towards credit card debt versus, which would be smart to put it towards credit card debt if you're not paying any additional interest on your student loan debt and paying off the higher interest items.
Yeah.
So we have that as a factor. But the other thing is when credit card debt starts to rise, that's usually an indication that the economy may not be as strong as we think it is.
I mean, you're saying that as we think it is, right? Because last week we were talking about how
the problem with all the numbers that come out of the Federal Reserve and anything about the economy is it's talking about history. It's talking about something that already happened. So what we're currently feeling, and they're trying to say that, it's not that bad. I'm like, well, I'm feeling it in my pocket right now, and you're telling me it's not that bad, but you're using data that's how many months old at this point, so you're a little bit behind the times. So that's always the Federal Reserve is reactive based on the numbers that have already happened. It's not necessarily an accurate reflection of what is currently happening at this moment.
So, which is interesting because you're saying that the economy might not be doing as great as we think it is.
Correct.
Last week we were talking about how markets were breaking at all-time highs, et cetera, and all that kind of stuff. But yet we're seeing all this inflation go up in certain areas and like just sentiment overall. So it's interesting because it checks out on what you said. They're just a reflection of what has happened.
Right.
Right. So, okay. I mean, there was something else on here too that I thought was interesting. So while while they are at the all-time high right now, it was still, in terms of percentages, 8.8% of balances transitioned to delinquency in the past year. So they have improved from 8.8, I'm sorry, 9.1% to 8.8. So there's people with less balances than apparently a year ago in delinquency. So delinquency being like they're late on payments, right? Versus balance, two different things.
Okay.
Right. So even though the balances are at all-time highs, somehow people are still able to keep up with their payments.
Well, then that also begs to ask how many credit cards are still out there and how many people have closed their account or their account's been shut down on them. So are we still talking the same pool of people, or has the pool gotten smaller? And some of the people that are no longer in the pool would be people that have delinquencies, liquid balances.
Or is it also that people are making more, but also spending more? Or just spending more in general?
Well, delinquent balances means that they're not paying it's most likely their minimum credit card payment, because a delinquent balance is when you don't pay the bill at all.
The statement balance, right?
But you don't have to pay the statement balance in full. You just have to make the minimum payment.
Mm-hmm. Wow, and the minimum payment tends to be significantly smaller.
Yes, it does.
So,
you go out and spend $1,000 in the month, and you only owe $88. Isn't that amazing?
Right.
Go do it again next month. See what happens.
Which really damages the images and of how beneficial credit cards can be, because they read that one line, not understanding that that you should pay your statement balance in full, so you don't acquire any interest on your debt.
Credit cards can be a useful tool, but you have to be able to understand how to properly utilize that. There are going to be points in your life that you might be tight on funds, and because you have a credit card available to you means you're still able to eat. Mm-hmm. In the Great Depression, if you didn't have cash in your pocket, you couldn't get food. Mm-hmm. Today, if you don't have cash in your pocket, you have a credit card, you can still eat.
Right. Right. So I don't know, man. We'll see where it goes. You just think that? I mean, I like what you said there, because one of the questions I had to ask here was, do you think that people that are being more financially restrained right now, are they either more financially restrained, or are they just relying on credit cards more as a temporary solution?
I mean, that's typically what happens is you start to use your credit card to... You don't want to acknowledge the reality, so you just use the credit card, and then you just, I'm just not going to pay off the balance in full, and the credit card debt just slowly accumulates. And this is the start of a vicious cycle, which could be indicative of, we could be facing a bigger problem in the country coming up. Yeah.
So what do you think are some steps people could take to better manage their finances in a high debt environment?
Start eliminating unnecessary spending.
What does that look like? What would you consider unnecessary spending?
Everybody's going to be it's going to be different for everybody, but it's really a matter of literally looking at where all your money went last month. Look at how much money you brought in last month, and then subtract out all of the expenses you had last month, and then do it again for the month before, and start looking about where your money's going. You don't necessarily have to be on a budget, but you do need to have an understanding of where your money is being spent, and then determine, is that an appropriate level or not? Because that one of the big things everyone always seems to be surprised about is that when you go out to grab a coffee for $3 every day, next thing you know, at the end of the month, that $3 coffee every day was a lot more expensive than you thought, because you didn't go once. Turns out you went twice in some days.
Look, I'm not going to say where this coffee came from, but I got myself here a macchiato. Right. Here's what I've learned.
Hold on. Does this count as going out 4 times in 1 week?
Does a coffee drink count as dining out?
I'd say that was a splurge versus making coffee at home.
I would say so too.
Okay,
so that's 4.
That's 4. Still want to audit that credit card.
So anyways, I'm not gonna say who this is, but this is a macchiato, and what I've learned is that when the name sounds fancy or is anything outside of just being called coffee, it's probably gonna be expensive, right? This large cup of coffee, I probably want to say it's.
Was it large or was it grande?
This was a large. Now grande is Starbucks, and I'm still not gonna say who this is, but this large macchiato with a mocha flavor, $5.19. People tend to get this every morning before they go to work. They're like, it's like their gas to their car, for their own being, and then they go out and get it again during their break. Because one tends to be not good enough to fuel you up and energy after you do it long enough. So that's $10
a day, 30 days, $300.
$300 a month. That's what you're going to be paying. And pretty much close to your auto insurance, on a yearly basis.
More than your auto insurance each month.
Yeah, but on a yearly basis, that's about what you're going to be paying with that 14% increase. But yeah, $5, man. And they're not getting cheaper. They keep freaking bringing prices up. You brought up Starbucks earlier, and I'm still not going to say who this is, but you brought up Starbucks earlier, and I think you told me before, is that they were very particular in making themselves the most expensive coffee out there. And that's what made them stand out. So tell me a little bit about that.
It's not a secret. That was Starbucks' model. They went any place they introduced a new store, they went around and they price shopped everybody who sells coffee and what the price was. Mm-hmm. And then they opened up their store, and their price for coffee, they made sure was higher than everybody else in town. And it worked. And people go there and pay for it.
Well, I will say this. I'm not going to talk. I'm still not going to say who this is, but I'm not going to talk smack. It's a really good coffee. And at the end of the day, I'm in control of my own expenses, and it's completely my fault that I spent, or my responsibility that I spent $5.60 on
$5.60. We're up
16 cents on this large cup of macchiato mocha flavored coffee from a place I'm not going to mention.
Now, out of curiosity, how much was the coffee across the street from the gas station?
What do you mean?
Where you went, there was a gas station across the street that had coffee.
I had no clue. Did they show that on the gas station like they do with the gas prices?
No.
What the hell makes you think I would know that? I've never thought about. Well, you see, I don't think about getting coffee at a gas station like that, like one of those older school gas stations, like I would like at a Wawa. Because I think of the place. So the gas station Arthur's talking about, it's more like it's just gas type of gas station, and you go in there, you get some chips and all that kind of stuff. When you think of like a Wawa,
it has a little convenience store.
Yeah, it's a little convenience store versus Wawa, which
has
is like
coffee, has soda, has chips. I wonder how much their coffee cost.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
I wonder how many of those coffees you could have gone for your $5.16.
And around the corner, to make matters worse, around the corner was a freaking Acme. So
there was a supermarket.
Yeah. Again,
so
my responsibility, right? So $5.16 for a pretty good coffee, but I don't think worth the price. So that's just what it is, man. You got to watch what the hell you spend and not do what I just did. So, yeah, let's move into politics a little bit. I know you have a lot of politics stuff going on. I'll get the ball rolling, and then you can take over from there. Elon Musk. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Elon Musk is like this big guy that's going around. He owns like a company called by Tesla, whatever the case is. Drives itself. Something about a computer on wheels. He's had quite the couple weeks. The last couple of weeks since Tuesday, since the election took place and Trump became the president-elect, he's had quite the couple of weeks, which is interesting because what I read here and what I'm about to share with you guys really makes you put into perspective or ask you questions, or it should make you ask you questions about a few things. So in the past week with some change, Elon Musk's net worth, by the way, I don't know if anyone has seen it. There's this video of this Asian dude who I think has a deep fake, deep fake, right? Like a deep fake of Elon Musk's face that stands in front of a Tesla, and he looks just like, I think it's deep fake, or it's either deep fake or he looks just like him. And I can't help to think about him as I'm talking about Elon Musk, but he essentially just stands there and is like, "Hi, I'm Elon Musk," and then he just for like a whole minute. He's like, I love you, and then that's the video. Gets millions of views on that thing, millions. But it's good humor. I love to see it. I get a good laugh out of it, and I can't help but think about it. But yeah, so Elon Musk's net worth surged 70 billion in a week, bringing it to a total of 308 billion. Now, he's still the richest person on earth, right?
Yes.
Publicly known. Which makes you wonder, because he donated, what was it, 70 million to the super PAC, right?
The super PAC that he created.
Right, the super PAC that he created, which, made him...
Okay, well, 70 million...
Was it 70 million?
Yeah, it was 70 million. And how many billion did 70 billion?
So, exactly. So that's
so you're talking...
Right, so if
a fraction.
It's a great ROI on his investment into this political move that he has. So 70 billion in 1 week, bringing it to a total of 308 million. So of the 308 billion. So I mean that's a great come up in a week. But also Tesla's market cap surpassed 1 trillion for the first time in years. So Tesla's doing great, Elon's doing great, and then on top of that, the Doge is back. Doge, you remember Dogecoin?
Vaguely.
The Doge of the dog, it's like a coin, that crypto coin where you could buy, and then anytime Elon spoke about it, it will either go up or down in pricing. When he went on SNL, people were hoping he would talk about it so he could jump up, and people were placing bets on that. But in relation to that, he recently joined Donald Trump's newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. So Department of Government Efficiency.
Proposed
with Vivek Ramaswamy.
Correct, but I also believe
hold on.
part of it is they're not taking a salary.
Hold on. Let me get to my point here. Department of Government Efficiency. What are the acronyms there? Department of Government Efficiency.
DGE?
Department of Government Efficiency.
Of is never part of.
So, Doge. That, again, he and then that was, mind you, this wasn't that I know of, this wasn't a department that existed at the time, before Musk. So this department was made so he could be, the head of, efficiency here. But also the acronyms are Doge, which I'm sure has some effect on what Dogecoin has done in terms of performance in the past week. So actually, I didn't look this up prior, but let me see what Dogecoin price is right now. So let's see, Dogecoin. Let's look at in the past 5 days. That was announced, I think, last week or a couple days ago. I think that was announced a couple days ago that he was assigned to that department or proposed. But since then, Doge has risen 8.36% in the past 5 days. Now, a Dogecoin goes right now for 38 cents. So it's one of those things where you could buy a crap ton of and then do great. Now, did you hear what I said? 5 days, right? 38 cents for 8% increase. You put the yield at 1 month, at the 1 month scope, it has gone up 227%, right? From a low of 12 cents to now 38. So if you just had like $1,000 in Dogecoin, you'd be pretty good right now.
Okay, but Dogecoin, isn't that the one that was created as a joke?
Yes, this was the meme coin.
Okay.
Right, this is considered a meme coin. There were many meme coins, but this was one of them. And it was the one that was particularly associated with Elon Musk. So it wasn't
associated with Elon Musk. And now he's part of a brand new department in the government that has the same acronym as the coin. So isn't this really more of a conflict of interest at this point?
Well, now he didn't create the coin.
Oh, he didn't create the coin.
He didn't create the coin.
Still sounds like a conflict.
Someone created the coin, and Elon just happened to find out about it and like posted a tweet about it at the time when it came out. And then they saw that Elon jumped on it, so everybody flooded in. And since it's just become a meme coin. Now you mentioned the meme coin aspect of this, but we didn't have this on our notes. But you know what coin has had a great freaking month or past few days? Bitcoin, the OG. Bitcoin right now, as we speak, is at $91,000 a coin. $91,000. In the past 5 days alone, it's gone up 3%. In the past month, it has gone up 35%. In the past month, it had a low of 67,000. And now it's at 91,000. You know, I remember a few years ago, people and Bitcoin there was literally, let me look at this 5-year yield. So what are we, 2024, 2021? I remember Bitcoin, yes, this is when literally just 2 years ago, people were talking so much crap on Bitcoin because it had its run during 2020, the pandemic and everything. And they were talking about, oh, Bitcoin to 50,000, da, 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 da. And then it plummeted. And all the big banks, not big banks, but like hedge funds, they were like, you see, you know, Bitcoin ain't anything, da, 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 da. It's at $16,000. But now there was a couple of people out there that speculated that Bitcoin eventually is going to reach $100,000. And they got called crazy. But here we are at freaking $91,000, Arthur. I had a friend who I saw posted on his Instagram story that he had purchased some Bitcoin. I forget how much of it, but he had purchased it at the time where it was worth $4,000. Now, that might sound crazy, which it is considering what it is now. But when you do a 5-year yield on the chart of Bitcoin price, in 2019 it was $7,000. In 2019 it was $7,000. In 2020, in March of 2020, it was $5,000. And now it's at, again, $91,000. Shoot.
How much did you buy?
Shoot. Not enough. Not enough. That is the answer. So, I feel like we're having a little bit of deja vu squared here. Because we're going through a run. Securities markets are closing at all-time highs, including the most basic one, the S&P 500, which keeps closing at high records. So let's see what the S&P is at right now. See, S&P 509. What the hell is 509? So 500 today. Okay, so S&P 500 is at 5,800 right now, right? At $5,870 year to date. It's up 23%, which is great, right? Typically, the S&P yields around like an 8%, right? Is that what it is? 8-9%?
Technically, historically, it's always been 7.2% over a 10-year period, but that might be a little low.
Right. So right now, literally, year to date, it was around 4,600. And now it's about to touch 5,900. We may very well see it in this current trajectory touch 6,000 probably in a couple of weeks. The way things are moving. So securities are closing at all-time highs. Tech is doing great again. I wonder what tech is doing because Dow is mostly tech, is it not?
Is it mainly?
I think it is. Dow Jones today. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Okay, Dow is up. Let's see. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 15% year to date from 37,000 to now 43,000. Even that's doing pretty good. So, Arthur, we have things closing at all-time high. Bitcoin is, once again, to the moon. Doge is up. But yet we have inflation happening, people feeling that they can't afford things, credit card debt going, at all-time highs. What is going on here? Are we seeing two sides of the coin. Two sides of the coin being the 80-20 rule, where the 20% of the population is holding 80% of the wealth.
Those numbers are way off.
What is?
That 20% of the population holds 80% of the wealth.
Okay.
It's much smaller.
It has gotten even. It's got the range has gotten even.
The
Right.
gap has gone, it's massive.
Right. Oh, and that's when you go into the social economics of things, right? The wage gap, versus where the 1% and the 99%, the wage gap over annual annual earnings has just gone exponentially even wider of a margin.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, man? I know I gave you a lot to go off there.
I mean, it's last time that so few at the top had such a large percentage of the wealth. They weren't good times. And the only way that we got out of that was this whole campaign with people like Andrew Carnegie and J.D. Rockefeller and others donating the bulk of their money and creating so many things to help society in general. That's why there's so many. There's Carnegie Hall, there's Carnegie Libraries. They're putting money back into what would be the most beneficial to the people. And part of the thought process was educating people, and you do that by providing libraries, making them readily available so people could read books. And Rockefellers did a lot with giving money back. And that's what ended up happening, is the people with the money turned around and gave it back to society.
Yeah.
So if we don't start getting ourselves on track to do that again, this is...
The middle class is going to cease to exist.
They've had these problems in Europe before, and then the peasants revolted, and that didn't go well.
And that's how what's it called? Civil wars happen. When
I don't know if it's necessarily a civil war that would happen.
where I'm saying, I might be using the wrong term here, where the poor start feeling poorer and poorer and poorer, and frustration grows because the richer are getting richer and the middle class ceases to exist, and then that's when they start fighting.
That's when revolutions happen.
Okay, that's the word I was thinking of. Sorry, revolutions. So
yes, and that's what brought down the Russian czars.
what do you got on your list? Tell us.
Well, want to dive into politics?
I mean, we kind of already took a couple steps into there. So,
all right. Well, in tradition of a new president being elected, the Bidens invited the president and the president-elect and his wife to join them at the White House for the annual meeting to meet them and discuss, I guess, with the president, they go over politics, and with the first ladies, they go over life in the White House and trying to help make the transition easy, because you're moving into glass bowl mansion where all eyes are on you.
yeah.
And it's actually really a quite impressive feat when you think about it, that on Inauguration Day, the current president moves out of a house, the president-elect moves in the house, and the house gets renovated simultaneously within an 8-hour window. So think about moving out of your house, having the place renovated, and the new owner's furniture arriving while things are happening. That's what happens at the White House.
Yeah.
That's a lot of logistics to try to plan just to make the basic comfort,
Right.
yet alone everything else that goes along with the position.
Yeah.
So that was very gracious of the Bidens to honor that tradition, seeing that his predecessor
There you go. Here we go.
chose not to honor that tradition.
Yeah, we briefly had this conversation earlier, and I told Arthur to hold it because I saw it going somewhere, and I didn't want the camera to miss it. Yeah, so I agree with you that Trump's transition wasn't a smooth one, but you almost gotta wonder how much of it is it just to I'm gonna show you more than just following what tradition should be.
His reaction of, I'm going to hop on my airplane and fly out of here before this even happens. And I'm just going to ignore the whole thing.
Well, I also think it's interesting how a week ago, what are we today? Friday. So he's been president-elect now for a week and a few days. 2 weeks ago, it was from all the White House, from the whole White House, including Kamala, is he's a threat to democracy. And then a video came out a couple days ago of Biden was out doing his thing, and then they asked him, someone shouted out, "Is Trump still a threat to democracy?" He looked at the camera in the direction that the person asked that question, and then he just didn't say anything. He said, "Oh, we're just gonna ensure." He said, "I'm meeting with him later today."
So he didn't answer the question.
So is he no longer a threat to democracy?
Well, based on Biden's answer, that would be no, he still is. He didn't answer the question.
He evaded the question.
Because he didn't want to answer the question.
I don't know, dude. I gotta say, I'm glad that Biden is doing what he should be doing. I wonder a little bit how much of it is honest versus just following tradition. That's my take on Biden. But just generally speaking, the Democrats, man, they haven't been taking this well. They have no one
to blame but themselves.
That is true. I think
they screwed themselves over.
I think we're 100% in agreement there that the Democrats at the end of the day shot themselves on the foot. But just the way they've been handling it on social media, and I still see it today, man. I see that there's Democrats out there that are posting on their Instagram stories, on Twitter, on their Facebook, that you're a race, that now Latinos are racist, Latinos are sexist, misogynist, white people are racist, misogynist, this and all this name calling, and which is interesting because they would throw all that on the Republicans, but then the day after, you're doing the exact same thing. You're saying that the other group of people are doing.
Name calling's, I don't agree with it. It's not responsible. It's childish. It's petty. There is no reason for name calling.
Here we go. I know where that one's going to.
But please keep in mind that somebody has a wiki page of all of the names that all the nasty nicknames that they have for people. And now we're about to refer to him as the president of the United States again. Look, not the image you want for a leader of a country.
It's not appropriate.
I understand. You keep coming back.
It's not appropriate.
Not presidential.
It's not appropriate.
If you're not presidential, then you shouldn't be president.
It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. It's humor.
It's not humor.
It's humor. It's dry humor. It's dude. When I give you shit about whatever the case is, and I call you like a funny name, not insulting, calling you a funny name, it's humor. It's like I don't know, use
Crooked Hillary.
Oh my god, I tried to think of one.
How is that?
I tried to think of one, and that was the first one that came to mind, and it came out like that was the first one you brought up.
And how is that humorous,
dude? I mean, there is some truth to every joke that's told. In a way. There has been suspicious activity from Hillary before.
How about Crooked Ivanka? We never said that one.
Well, what has she done?
She did the exact same thing Hillary did.
What did she do?
The whole thing with an unsecure server with her emails.
Okay.
She did verbatim the exact same thing as Hillary did.
Exact same thing.
I
can't speak on this, but please, anybody who reads this, and I want you to read this feedback because
same thing.
Here's the thing with you. I don't think you read the feedback we get.
I do.
Okay.
I do not.
Well, you do. You do not.
I do not.
You do not. I would encourage you to do so.
Actually, you'd prefer if I don't because you want me to keep my honest opinions without being
but we need to address what people say. We need to address people say because it's a conversation. And if we're not addressing or talk about what people are saying, it's not a conversation. It's an echo chamber, right? So what I want people to do, if what he's telling me right now that Ivanka did the exact same thing, word for word, and it was the exact same outcome.
Unsecure server.
Tell us so.
Government emails on an unsecure server.
Okay. And didn't people find shit in Trump's home that he shouldn't have had or something like that? Or he took something from the White House to his house that he shouldn't have?
Trump? Yes.
I'm sorry, not Trump. I meant Biden. I meant Biden.
They did.
Okay.
But you also have to understand.
Here we go. You always have a reason with the Dems, man. You always do.
No, go through the whole story. Let's go through the whole story then. Let's start with Trump.
Okay.
What happened? Trump left office.
Mm-hmm.
He packed up everything he had and took it out of the office.
And then he took some stuff to Mar-a-Lago.
Took everything to Mar-a-Lago.
Okay. We can't say everything. Not everything.
Okay.
At the end of the day, he took something he shouldn't have.
Not something. Multiple.
Whatever. He took what he shouldn't have.
In any case, the National Archives were going through the records and noticed that there were several items that they couldn't find. Mm-hmm. So as a courtesy, they reached out to him and asked, do you have them? And he said no. And they went through it again and they said, we are really pretty sure that you might have these documents that belong to the National Archives. We would like you to return them so we can record them with the rest of the National Archives. Again, he said no. So they went through the whole process and subpoenaed him. Mm-hmm. And then there was the FBI raid. Mm-hmm. And in the process, they found all of them.
Okay.
Now, yes, did other people like Pence and Biden also have documents that were they found documents that had the classified label on them. Now, here's the difference. I am still waiting for somebody to come out and tell me that Pence did something wrong or Biden did something wrong. Because you have to remember that the documents, if they are still considered classified, mm-hmm. should not have left and gone to their personal residences. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nobody has told me whether the documents in Biden's garage were mm-hmm. still considered classified any longer, or the documents that they found in Pence's house were considered classified. Because once they were declassified, they didn't belong to the government anymore. They belonged to those individuals' personal archives.
Okay, so you're making the argument for Biden now.
And Pence.
Okay, but here's where my problem with you is. My challenge with you is that you always give a favoring argument to one side and not the other.
National Archives were looking for documents that Trump had.
Okay.
Turns out Trump actually had those documents that he said he didn't have. Mm-hmm. Okay, he committed a crime by taking them. They were going to let him go. Mm-hmm. And if he returned them, he refused to return them, mm-hmm. and then complains that the government's corrupt because they went and seized the documents that he illegally took.
Okay.
Biden and Pence, when they went to go, do they have FBI searches for their houses, or do they just ask, do you have documents? And they just handed them boxes and then they started going through everything.
The specific words I found, I heard was a while back was they found documents.
They found, but was it because I don't know if they had FBI raids on their houses like they did with Trump. I think it was that they asked them, do you have any documents that we should be aware of? And they invited them in and said, please look around and see what you can find. Mm-hmm. Again, all I've ever heard is that they found documents in both Pence and Biden's possession that had the classified label on them, but nobody has clarified whether those documents are still classified.
Okay. So,
but they were all returned to the government upon request.
Okay, so we're gonna free ball into this article that I just found. Fact check by CNN. Fact check: Biden makes 3 false claims about his handling of classified information. Well, I don't know if I want to read it now because CNN. But because this is always favoring the left. Let's see where the classified material was stored. All the stuff that Biden said, all the stuff that was in my home was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked. Facts first. Biden's claim is not true. The special counsel's report says that while some of the classified documents were found in cabinet drawers in Biden's Delaware home, other classified documents about Afghanistan were found in an unsealed and badly damaged box sitting in his garage alongside an assortment of other items the special counsel described as household detritus, detritus. This word right here. Household. I've never heard that word.
It's Latin.
Okay. Jesus, I mean, you're gonna use a word like that, dude. At least find a better word. Like now that gets me wondering what the hell. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Don't worry about it. I mean, it's
Hold on. Now I gotta know. This is how I learn. So detritus, waste or debris of any kind. Okay. Household debris. So they say household waste. Okay. Let's see what else they have.
so they found. Hold on, but again, they found documents that were classified about Afghanistan, but they were classified at the time. Were they still considered classified documents when they found
hold on.
them?
Biden claimed of the document he possessed, none of it was high classified. It didn't have any of the red stuff on it. You know what I mean? Around the corners, none of that. Facts first. Biden's claim that none of the classified material found in his possession was highly classified is false. False. According to details provided by the special counsel, Hurt reported the discovery of documents in Biden's possession that had markings identifying them as top secret / sensitive,
Correct.
compartmented information, a very high level of classification,
Correct.
plus handwritten notebooks from Biden's time as vice president that weren't marked as classified, but that contain information that remains classified up to the top secret / sensitive compartmented information level.
Correct. I'm
Okay.
still waiting for you to tell me the part where it says it was still considered classified when they took it from his possession. Nothing has said that just because a document gets deemed unclassified information,
when you
doesn't mean
say
that the red marks
when you say
fall off the
took it, are you
paper.
talking about when they raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago?
No, I'm talking from Biden right now. You're on Biden.
No, but I'm talking when you use the word taken. Are you talking about when Trump's house at Mar-a-Lago was raided?
I'm not. I'm on Biden right now.
I know, but using taken as if like,
Biden.
as a comparative point.
Okay. Again,
Or you're talking about specifics of classification.
I'm
Classification
talking
before being taken.
when a document comes out and is considered top secret classified, it's stamped with that and has the red mark on the document.
Mm-hmm.
That red mark does not just fall off the document when the information is no longer considered classified.
Mm-hmm.
So taking a document like that was considered classified and is no longer classified is not a crime. That is something that's very common practice. Senators do it all the time, and it ends up with their archives. And most of Biden's archives have ended up at the University of Delaware. And if you go to the University of Delaware and are able to view some of his documents, you'll see that there are documents that do have those classified markings on it.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, he was a senator for over 40 years. Documents that he had in his possession that would be classified at the beginning of his term as senator are no longer classified. They're no longer national secrets. So again, I'm not hearing
Every
anything.
claim I'm seeing that Biden made is false. Everything I'm reading,
Yes, those claims are false. I'm not disputing that. But nobody has told me that he had classified documents in his possession that were still considered classified.
but if they're saying that his claims are false, that means that they were
No.
still classified.
No, they're not. His claims are false.
But yes, he's claiming that they're not.
He's claiming that they were locked up.
He's claiming that
weren't
they're
locked
not.
up.
He was
Okay.
he was claiming that they were not classified. And every single fact check that I'm finding is stating that the claim is false.
No. He claimed.
Biden, sorry to interrupt you, but it's here before I lose it.
Okay.
None of it was high classified. It didn't have any of that red stuff on
Okay,
it.
that's a lie. That's
Okay.
a lie.
Okay.
So he lied about that, but the document being considered classified in his garage, just because it was marked classified does not mean it's still classified. If I hand you a document today with saying that it's classified for an action that we're going to take, a secret mission that we're about to take that we don't want the rest of the world to know about, and then we do that, come tomorrow morning, that document's no longer classified because we actually fulfilled what the document said and now the world knows about it.
I'm still seeing everywhere that it was still classified at the time,
Nope.
dude. There's even a video of Jim Jordan claiming that it was.
Okay, that's not a good example.
Okay, of course he's not, because he's not leaning to that side.
No. How long did he last in his position?
It's very convenient, Arthur. It's very you never see.
I'm still waiting to hear that the documents were still considered classified at the time that they found them in his house. And nothing has said that. Nothing has said that about Biden. Nothing has said that about Pence. The difference is National Archives were missing presidential documents that Trump had in Mar-a-Lago. And they found them in Mar-a-Lago.
This is NPR. A year-long investigation into President Biden's handling of classified material will not result in any charges. Special counsel Robert Hur concluded in his report that the evidence investigators uncovered falls short of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials, which is what you're saying.
Correct.
I should have let you say that before me saying that, because you could just be agreeing to me saying.
No. I'm still not hearing that the documents that they found that he had were considered classified. If you're telling me you're a senator and you're brought in on a special committee and they're sharing around the classified documents with all the special markings and seals on it, and then
your argument is that they were not classified at that point.
Correct.
That's your argument.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to look into that because I don't know that answer. Next episode, when we come back, note that somewhere in there to revisit that. If I'm going to look into it, and then if I find that that is in fact the case, I will give you the prop and tell you that that was in fact the case. But if you happen to know this, let him know. All right, because Arthur doesn't read the comments apparently, but I do.
You'll be letting Emilio know.
But I do, right? He thinks he's he thinks he's freaking what's his name? What's the one guy that got fired by I think CNN or Fox?
I'm not quite sure where you're going with that correlation.
Well, he's successful and has a beautiful family, so it would be a compliment if anything. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No clue.
Fucking Christ! I forget his freaking name. I'm terrible at remembering names on the spot. So, all right. So, bring us home, Arthur. We got places to be. It's 8:48.
We have politics, which we've
just throw something at me. Not literally. Unless it's a $5.16 macchiato mocha.
All right, McDonald's. They're spending $100 million to lure customers back after their little, E. coli outbreak. There's no really positive.
Say it again.
Oh, you really want to throw them under the bus and back it up?
No, say it again because I didn't.
McDonald's is spending $100 million to lure customers back.
McDonald's is spending $100 million to lower customers back?
To lure customers back.
Oh, lure. Okay, customers back. Okay, cool.
They're spending $35 million on marketing.
I had a quarter pounder, by the way, last night with that onion.
Well, you missed out on the bargain.
Oh, what was it?
Well, their new marketing campaign includes advertising a 10-piece McNugget for $1.
I don't care for McNuggets.
Even for $1?
I don't care for them. They're not that exciting to me. I look at McNuggets and I think of a side. You know?
Well, how many sides of McNuggets does it take to make a full meal? I mean, at $1 for 10 pieces.
I wouldn't. Just how I don't see wings as a full meal.
How much was your quarter pounder?
I don't know. I didn't buy it. so that's -1 of eating out this week. So okay, so what?
Technically not because
they're spending $100 million as in like giving
$35 million on advertising and the whole 10-piece McNugget deal for $1, and then $65 million is going back to the franchises in the states that have been affected and have lost business as a result of the issue with the onions.
Oh, so they're essentially like
they're trying to help,
funding their pain.
Help the franchises that have been suffering, and then they're also trying to use $35 million.
What about the people that got sick because of them? Are they getting any help?
It doesn't go into that. There were more than 100 people that got sick across 14 states with one person passing away.
Didn't one person die?
One person passed away.
Jeez, I hope they're doing some back end like assistance to like cover funeral costs or whatever costs that they might have incurred.
I would hope so as well. That would be the civic responsibility thing.
Yeah. That is a sad note.
I don't have a positive note.
Well, you know what, man? McDonald's is not going anywhere. It's a shame that person passed away, but I hope
But it did not deter you from going there this morning.
It absolutely did
and
not.
What meal was that this morning? Since you have 2 meals and a snack a day.
I got nothing. So, all right. Well, Arthur, it's been another great home team with you. Please leave comments. Be nice to Arthur. You guys are not always nice to Arthur. He tries. He tries his best, and I know he comes off liberal, but he's a registered independent. At the end of the day, he means well. And
we started to go through this. Why I come off liberal?
What?
Because Trump has had a death grip on American politics for 10 years. And if we could get him out of the equation, I would love to have somebody else on the Republican side being the voice of the Republicans. And then,
Have you ever voted? I'll ask you this question. Have you ever voted Republican?
yes.
Okay. Who?
What do you mean, who? For president?
Yeah.
I have not voted Republican for president.
And how long? I mean, how many elections have you voted for?
We're not getting to that. I was not around for Reagan. I would have voted for him.
Reagan? Really? You're gonna go that back? Okay.
Well, who were the choices from there?
I'm just saying, from the time you've been voting,
From the time I've been voting,
you voted blue the entire. Oh, fuck! I'm sorry. I don't want to. That's your privacy.
I did
that's
not.
your privacy.
I have not actually voted blue the entire time either.
Okay, that's your privacy. We don't have to go into that. My question was if you had ever voted Republican.
I did not vote Republican for president. I have voted Republican for senator, governor, and several other state officials.
Okay, so you have voted Republican.
100%.
Just not president, because you haven't found a Republican candidate for presidency that you found favoring.
Since I've been able to vote, no.
Was that World War II or one? Good old days, right?
Well, back when only landowners had the right to vote.
All right. Well, you see, guys, Arthur has voted Republican in the past, so cut him some slack. But if you haven't already, go shop the merch, man. Go shop the merch. Go shop the merch. We want to see you wearing some podcast merch, man. We want to know that you support the movement, you support the cause against mainstream media. Nothing against mainstream media, but it's just, there's a whole lot of division that's going on there. And we have two people right now in front of this camera that disagree on a lot. And we're not trying to sell you anything other than just information and, discourse that no matter where it goes, we'll still having a course after. So if you haven't already, shop the merch, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Until the next one. Bye-bye.